What's up guys, this is Brent with 247parts.com, and in this video I'm going to show you how to fully restore and clean your mower deck. First step here is going to be changing out our anti-scalping wheels. Now, reason why I like to do this first is because on a lot of decks, this will be the way that you will take the mower out from underneath the deck once you have the belts released from the drive. Now with this type of anti-scalping wheel, these will actually pivot to be able to allow you to pull that mower out from underneath. So we definitely want to change out any of these rough and worn anti-scalping wheels first. Most of these are just going to take, could be different sizes here. This one's going to be a 9/16 to take this loose. Go ahead and take those loose. And then you can see the difference here in a new anti-scalping wheel and the old. Now this is going to play a big factor too whenever we're trying to level that deck and also make sure we're getting the right protection for these. Now one thing that we also might want to look at is see how worn our spindles are and our hardware to go back on, and if they are too far gone, we want to change those as well. Now once we have all four of those changed out, now we want to go ahead and take our wheels here. So we're going to spin these, find the hole, and we're going to do that on all four corners. So now that we have all four wheels spun around to where we can pull this deck out, the next thing we need to do is release it from the underside of the deck. That way we can pull the deck completely out from underneath the mower. So once we've got our belts released from underneath and our front hanger, I like to go ahead and jack up the mower just a little bit there in the front to give me a little more clearance. And then we can just slowly start to wheel this deck out. Next, we want to make sure and visually inspect our belts very well. So on most mowers, we'll have a drive belt and then also a deck belt. So we want to make sure that we're looking at these very closely all along every edge on the inside and out, looking for any major cracks, rips, or tears. Now on the one that's on the deck here, we'll be able to just physically run that belt along. We just want to make sure that we're going the full length of our belt here, looking in these places where we can see a big chunk here of the front and the back, getting a good visual of those, and then changing these if needed. So next, we're going to pull the deck outside or out onto the clearest surface you have. Go ahead and give this deck a good wash with the power washer so we can see any spots that we may need to repaint, or check out these pulleys to see if we need to do any replacement there. So once we've got the top washed off, the next thing we want to do is bring the deck out onto a soft surface like we have here on this grass to make sure that when we flip it over, we don't damage any of those pulleys on top. And then we need to assess the damage on the bottom side of the deck. One, looking for any crack spots or any breaks in any of our welded pieces here on top. Then we also want to, of course, inspect our blades. And as we can see, these are really dull here. So we could take these off and sharpen these up with a hand file, weigh them out on a blade balancer to set those to see how much they've been sharpened, how much has been taken off, and try to even those up. But for as rough as these look and how many grooves and indentions there are and just how dull they are, we're probably just going to change these. So I'm going to go ahead and take these off and then totally power wash the underside of this deck, and then we'll go back on with new blades and then head back into the shop to do our service. All right, and just like that, you've gotten the deck completely clean underneath. It's going to allow for good airflow. Now, one thing you could do also is take a wire brush to this, maybe a wire brush on a drill or a sander. Go ahead and sand this all the way down and totally repaint this just to renew that surface. That's completely up to you, depending on how detailed you want to get, but you could do that to this deck to make it look even better and just absolutely increase that airflow even more. Now we're going to put on the new blades. Main thing here, guys, is you want to make sure and try to go out and find either an online copy or find a copy of the operator manual, and make sure that you are tightening down these blades to torque specs. So on this particular deck, it's going to be 50 foot-pounds. I've got my torque wrench here, and I'm going to go ahead and slap these on. All right, and then once we've got our blades on, next thing we want to do is check those spindles a little bit here. So like I said, we want to go ahead and spin these, see if we can hear anything or feel anything in the snugness of the bearing. And then also to kind of check that shaft, we want to take our blade and try to pull on it back and forth like this and see if we get any play in that shaft. Then we'll go ahead and flip the deck over, do the same thing here at our pulleys. Give them a pull side to side like this. See if you can feel anything, and now we're ready to grease and lubricate. So on these decks, your spindles on the actual unit that your blades are driving on, you're gonna have a grease point that's either on top or maybe right underneath the pulley. These are on top. So what we're gonna do is take a hand grease gun and go on to each one of these grease fittings. And what we're looking for is to squeeze enough grease in there that we start to feel some resistance. Now this is the reason why we don't want to use a battery powered or air powered grease gun, is because we won't be able to feel that resistance coming back whenever the cavity is full. And we don't want to over grease these and shoot too much in, because some of these do have these sealed bearings inside, and so we don't want to put too much grease in and happen to pop those seals out of those bearings. So once we've got that in, we'll go ahead and turn these just to get that grease nice and worked around that shaft. Now to also do this whenever you turn the mower on, just for good measure, go ahead and give that a few spins. Now we've got a couple of points here on most decks where we need to use a spray lubricant like we have here. We've got the white lithium grease that we're going to use. So we have a pivot point here where the mower actually tightens, where the belt tightens up right there. This shaft pivots. And then also here on this pulley, we do not have any grease zerks. So we're going to go ahead and shoot some grease right around in here and on the bottom side, just to make sure that we're getting this good and lubricated as well. Now our last thing here before we put the deck underneath is we just want to make sure everything's tight. We want to check the bolts here on our idler pulley. We want to check bolts on such things as our tensioner here, which looks like it needs a little bit of tightening down there. Anything that's exposed here that will not easily be reached from underneath the deck, we want to make sure and do that. And then lastly, any touch-up points that we may see, any bare spots in the paint here that we may see that we want to make sure and get covered up with some paint, go ahead and break out that can of paint, that spray paint, and go ahead and touch up those spots. So we'll do some of that right now. All right, so now you're ready to slide your deck back underneath, hook up. So guys, I hope this video helped you out. I hope you were able to see some things and learn some things maybe that you didn't already know. Hopefully this video helps you get your deck back in that perfect running condition like you like. So guys, if you saw any parts in this video that you think that you absolutely need to have, make sure to check down in the link in the description below for that link to 247parts.com. If you have any other questions or comments, make sure to leave those in the comments section so I can be sure to get back with you. And also guys, if you're looking for more videos just overall on equipment, make sure to go check out our other channel, Western Equipment. And as always guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Hey guys, make sure to go buy your parts right here and subscribe right here.